Hey, this is SOS for the Super Nintendo. It's a totally great game, and hopefully this video convinces you to check it out. It's one of those games that flew under the radar, but those that have played it totally love it for the most part. It's a dramatic cinematic platformer that follows the story of 4 different characters as they try to save themselves and rescue others in a sinking, capsized cruise ship. It's a good example of an early survival game that hits the mark by building heart-pounding anxiety and dark tension. You have to fight and climb and claw your way to safety while racing against a clock before the ship totally sinks for good. SOS is a totally great game that shouldn't be missed, and it's today's subject on SideQuest. Inspired by the 1969 novel The Poseidon Adventure by Paul Gallico and the movie of the same name, SOS was a fairly groundbreaking concept game released for the SNES in 1994 by Human Entertainment, who are most popular for the Clock Tower series and Fire Pro Wrestling. Watching the gameplay footage, you might think it looks and feels a lot like a regular side-scrolling action platformer. And you might be right. However, players soon learn that this game has a lot more in store for the players. SOS opens with a cutscene showing the grim aftermath of a terrible tragedy. The luxurious cruise ship, the Lady Corinthania, has encountered an unexpected storm in mid-September 1921 and is not faring well. Unfortunately, her fate and those of the 2,300 aboard the ship have already been sealed. She's going down, and the whole ship is in a panic. Here's where it gets interesting. Before beginning gameplay, players will choose to play as one of 4 passengers aboard the ship: an architect named Caprice Wisher, a counselor named Redwin Gardner, a doctor named Jeffrey Howell, and a crewman of the ship named Luke Hines. Each character is exactly the same as far as speed, strength, and motion. However, they each also come with their own unique circumstances and concerns beyond just surviving the ship. Once gameplay begins, you have 1 hour to escape. This means that one way or the other, gameplay ends after that time. You either escape or go down with the ship. One of the primary goals of the game is to save as many passengers as possible, and how many you escape with directly affects your ending. The graphics of SOS range between excellent for the cutscenes and pretty good during actual gameplay. Moving character animations during gameplay are well represented, and different characters are given unique details. Graphics during the cutscenes are very crisp and very colorful given the dark nature of the game. What I really enjoyed more than the character design are the graphic effects employed. I was really impressed by things like the fog created by broken steam pipes and heat distortion from burning rooms. The music and sound really works for me. The music playing over the opening cutscene sets the tone perfectly, and players know immediately that this is going to be a grim story. Music throughout the game is quite effective as well, but I feel the opening number really sets it up very well. Sound effects are mostly very well rendered, and good luck getting the bone-chilling screams of dying characters out of your head. SOS is unique from most platformers due to the distinct lack of enemies. The only enemy is the storm, and that has already destroyed the ship, so there's no one to fight. Sometimes you have to avoid some falling debris, but it's pretty uncommon. So instead of fighting, players will run, jump, climb, and swim their way through the capsized ship to safety. Your job is just to survive, with the option of leading up to 7 people to safety with you. However, oftentimes the AI on those you need to save is just bad, making the task tough. The NPCs will get stuck indoors, won't follow you when called, and will occasionally fall from deadly heights and die and are gone for good. Conversely, if your character dies, you do come back, however you lose 5 minutes on your running clock. This isn't just a maze you have to find your way through, however. The setting is dynamic, and viable routes will change as the conditions of the ship deteriorates. Areas that were once inaccessible will become so as the ship turns on its head, rotating the entire level. The walls become floors, and ceilings become walls, and as the entire map turns, you can now jump to areas you couldn't previously reach, and areas you used to be able to get to are now blocked. It's a super cool feature of the game that really makes it stand out. Over time, the panic of the people becomes more desperate, and rooms become more dangerous as the timer continues to count down. And speaking of the timer, as I mentioned before, players are given just 1 hour to find a way out. That doesn't mean an hour of in-game time, mind you. You You have one real-life hour, and that's it. And at the end of that hour, you either are a victim or a survivor. Because of all the different choices and outcomes available in SOS, this game has insane replay value. Depending on which character you choose, it's almost like playing 4 different games all within the same setting and premise. Not only can you choose to play in a different style based on which character you choose, but you can also choose to save between 0 to 7 characters on your way out, depending on the characters and choices made along the way. And if he or she escapes, players will see one of over 20 different endings. SOS is a little-known game that I think people would love if they played. It's such a unique blend of being a quick gaming experience while still having infinite replayability. I highly recommend you get your hands on a copy of SOS if you can. You won't regret it. Hey, thanks for checking out this video all about SOS for the Super Nintendo. If you played this game, let me know what you think about it in the comments. Also, just a note, this will be wrapping up my series on the SNES cinematic platformers for the most part. Please go back and check out the other cinematic platformer reviews I did for the SNES. You can find them all at a playlist on our channel, or the link may be floating above my head. There's some other games that some people often claim are cinematic platformers, like Space Ace, Dragon's Lair, or Lester the Unlikely. If you know more, let me know in the comments. Anyway, skip those mostly because they are bad games. Also, there's of course Prince of Persia 2, which I may revisit someday. However, for now, I'm ready to get into something different. So anyway, thanks for joining me, and I will catch you next time on SideQuest.